Hello, I'm Steffi and today I'm going to explain to you about the use of exception handling in C Sharp. Here I've used various predefined exceptions and user-defined exceptions. So here I have an integer queue. A queue data structure you can do enqueue and dequeue operations in the data structure. Using the enqueue you can insert data into the queue, and using the dequeue operation you can remove elements from the queue. And it's an integer queue, so all the values that you need to enter should be integers. And here I have a default constructor which is used to get the size of the queue. Next I have the isEmpty function, which is used to check if the queue is empty or not. The queue is empty if the count equal to 0. The count is a variable which increments when you keep on inserting values into the queue, and decrements when you when you dequeue data from the queue. This is the isFull function, which occurs when the count equal to size, that is, the queue is full. This function, it is used to check, and here the value will be inserted till minus 199 is being pressed. So if you key in minus 999, so the insertion operation will end, and then q.add val. So using this you can add the values into the queue. Else this operation would happen, that the C++ we increment the C variable, and this can happen till C equal to 3. If it is more than 3, and then it will display this exception, that is the overflow exception. This is a predefined exception, so which would which would give out a message that you entered the wrong input 3 times. Since this is an integer queue, only the integer values will be taken in, and after that it will also give out exceptions like the invalid input exception and the argument exception. The invalid input exception is a user-defined exception that has been defined in this program later on. So it will give out the message enter an integer as input, and the argument exception, which is a predefined exception, so which will tell that it's a wrong input. So here, this is how you catch. In exceptions, we have the 3 blocks. There's a try block, the catch block, and then you have a throw uh, statement. So this is the throw is used to throw an exception. Catch, it will catch the exception. So in the catch block, here this invalid input exception space E is the argument, and then using the console.writeLine you can display the message that is being passed on, and this is the argument. You catch the argument exception as well and the overflow exception, and you display the message. Here I have the add function. The add function is to insert or to add the data into a queue. So it is again put into a try block. So in the try block it will check if the queue is full using the isFull function. If the queue is full, and if you keep on trying to add new values, it will throw an exception called the full exception. This is also a user-defined exception, and will also give out an index out of range exception, which is a predefined exception. So, and else, if it is not full, then the value will be inserted and the count variable will be incremented. Next, so here this is how we do the catch operation, and the message, the error message or the exception message will be displayed. And here is the remove function. Remove function is used to remove data from the queue. So here again we put it into try block. So if it checks if the queue is empty or not. If it is empty, then you cannot remove anything from the queue, so it will give out an exception as the empty exception. This is also a user-defined exception, and it will display that the queue is empty, and then it will also give out a predefined exception, which we have used here as a null reference exception. So you're referring to a value that is not present and you can, if the queue is not empty, then the value will be removed from the queue and the count variable will be decremented. And again the catch block. So, and then in the main function you give choice to the user if you want to add element, remove element, or check if the queue is empty or not. And then using the, based on the choice of the user, you can perform the various operations. So this is how it occurs, and here this is how you call the function. Next, here this is where the user-defined exceptions are being defined. So the exception that I used three user-defined exceptions as the full exception, the empty exception, and the invalid input exception. So using that, it is being inherited from the application exception class, and then the public full exception. And here I display, using the write line statement, I'm displaying the error message. And again I have the empty exception which is being defined, and similarly the invalid input exception is also being defined. And now that's all for the coding part. So now we'll see how it works. So here I have the three options, as add element, remove element, and the check if queue is empty. So first I'll do to remove element. So it will show the exception that the queue is already empty, so you cannot remove an element, is the exception given, and given the queue size is 0. So again I want to continue, so I press 0 to continue. Then I want to add elements, so I do this. Now enter the value to be inserted in the queue. So I want I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. Then that's all the elements I want to enter. So that's how it works till minus 999 has been entered, or the size of the queue is being completed. So again I press 0 to continue. Now I want to again add elements. So I add element, and then I go for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So again I have a queue full, that is the size 10. So I've exceeded the limit, and it shows the exception that the size is of the queue is completed. You cannot add more elements. So that's how it works. I did not next. So that's how the program keeps on working. That's all for the program. Thank you.